Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4. Happy Halloween!
Well, our costumes are kind of lame, aren't they?
We're not into it.
No, not yet. Not yet.
It's Halloween, and I opened up the paper this morning, and look at this flyer that was in there. Wow. Christmas.
It's time. I know.
Come on.
No,
Let's get through Halloween.
No, I know. We're listening for the doorbell, and we're waiting for some little trick-or-treaters to arrive, and we're going to be out on the weather patio to celebrate in just a little while.
So let's get to the news. First of all, here at 4, with less than a week to the election, the latest Marquette Law School poll shows a virtual tie in the race for governor.
Jessica Arp will join us with that. The president is holding a rally tonight as he continues to make immigration a key part of his campaign push.
And here's something we didn't headline too often: suck the muck. Eric Franke will explain what we're talking about coming up a little later.
Let's take a look outside, boys. This weather a gift for Halloween.
Absolutely perfect. It could be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse. Very mild today. It feels warm. Very nice.
Here's some of the muck we're sucking, apparently. About right for November is the forecast, and Dana Fulton's in the backyard, the scary backyard. You have company back there today. I don't hear you. Is your mic on? Oh, apparently her mic is on.
No, I still can't hear.
All right, well, why don't we come back to her in just a bit? I think she's so frightened by that person behind her there.
No need to be concerned. We'll explain in just a little while. But first at 4, it is a tie in the race for Wisconsin governor. The
new numbers today from the Marquette Law School poll showing the race for the State House is closer than ever. Political reporter Jessica Arp is here to break down the numbers. Yeah. Close indeed.
This race is, I mean, it's kind of hard to believe actually, but this race is so close. Pollster Charles Franklin said that the exact same number of people polled chose Walker and Evers when they were surveying people last week. That leaves us with a 47-47 race. That's obviously within the margin of error and the closest this race has been throughout of all of Marquette's polling. Walker led by 1 point earlier this month. Now check out this graphic that shows how this race has changed since the first pre-primary polling in June. At its peak difference, Evers led by 5. That has evaporated.
This has been close in most of our polls, so I'm not surprised to see a close race. But one that's essentially dead tied is a pretty unusual outcome.
The Marquette poll, though, doesn't show consistent results for just one party. We're seeing very different numbers in the race for U.S. Senate and Attorney General. In the race for U.S. Senate, incumbent Tammy Baldwin has slightly increased her lead over Leah Vukmir. That race stands at 54% for Baldwin, 43% for Vukmir. In the race for Wisconsin Attorney General, Republican incumbent Brad Schimmel has a 2-point lead over Democratic challenger Josh Kaul. But notice here that 7% of people still don't know who they will vote for in that race. The poll also looked at the most important issues to voters. You may already very well know this at home or have noticed from what you see in all those political ads. Healthcare, the economy, and K-12 education topped the list. We also know there's some differences in enthusiasm for voters. They looked at all the registered voters they polled, asked how many of them are very enthusiastic to vote. Of those, 81% of Democrats, 74% of Republicans, and 58% of independents.
So turnout is going to be everything.
It is. I mean, that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing all of these big name folks coming to campaign for candidates. We're seeing tons and tons of ads. I mean, we're actually seeing a lot more ads in the race for Attorney General. That's because there's a lot of people who don't know a lot about that race. Those candidates are trying to define their opponents so people can learn a little bit more about this race. Gosh, can you believe it's less than a week out now? So there's not much time to do that, but we're seeing a lot of ads, a lot of visits. You're going to see a lot of activity between now and Tuesday.
Get out and vote.
That's right.
All right, Jessica, thank you.
Thank you, Jess.
Now let's head to the backyard weather patio. I think we have things straightened out. Dana, you there? Just kidding.
No, I still can't. We still can't hear.
Trick or treat. We got tricked again. So now what do you want to do? Let's.
Oh, we're going to try this again? No.
All right, let's get on with life, we're told. President Trump will hit the campaign trail again for a Halloween night rally in Florida. The president is making migration a central part of his last-minute campaign push.
Angelica Alvarez has more from the White House.
President Trump is defending his idea that he can end U.S. birthright citizenship. He tweeted this morning, so-called birthright citizenship, which costs our country billions of dollars and is very unfair to our citizens, will be ended one way or the other. But even some of the president's own allies disagree.
You cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order. I'm a believer in the Constitution. I believe in interpreting the Constitution as it's written, and that means you can't do something like this via executive order.
The president has also called the caravan of refugees heading to the U.S. from Central America invaders and has ordered 5,200 soldiers to the border. You can expect to hear a lot about the caravan and birthright citizenship as the president holds his final string of rallies over 6 days leading up to the election. The president will be in Florida tonight, campaigning for Republicans running for the governor and Senate. That's one of 11 rallies before Election Day, nearly all of which are states where Republicans are fighting tough Senate races.
If you look at those 10 states, there are also places where the president's overwhelmingly popular in those locations, and I think that the president's the best messenger for the party.
But while the president is pushing immigration for Republicans, Democrats are focused on health care. Over the past 2 months, more than half of all Democratic ads mentioned health care, highlighting the GOP's opposition to Obamacare. Angelica Alvarez for WISC News 3.
And President Trump is criticizing Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan for dismissing his call to end so-called birthright citizenship for children of non-U.S. citizens born in this country. Trump tweets that Ryan, quote, should be focusing on holding the majority rather than giving his opinions on birthright citizenship, something he knows nothing about. Ryan, who is retiring from Congress after this term, said that Trump, quote, obviously could not end birthright citizenship through executive action, and legal scholars are divided on whether even Congress can do it by legislation.
Janesville police are investigating a shooting that sent one person to the hospital. Police were investigating a shots fired complaint in the 1500 block of Holiday Drive. They found one person with a gunshot wound. This is a live picture from the scene. A suspect has been taken into custody, and police say they are not looking for anyone else. Citizens in the area are asked to avoid the area. It's on the city's north side of Janesville, near the Janesville Mall.
A mafia hitman is under suspicion in the death of former Boston crime boss James Whitey Bulger. 51-year-old Photius Freddie Gates and at least one other inmate are accused of severely beating Bulger to death at a maximum security prison in West Virginia. Gates was sentenced to life in prison in 2011 for murder and several other violent crimes. Bulger had just arrived at the high security prison when he was found dead. Well, a plan to clear sediment from Dane County stream beds is yielding some strong early results.
Eric Franke is in the newsroom with how county officials are evaluating phase 1 of the Suck the Muck program. Eric?
Susan and Mark, this $12 million program will eventually cover 33 miles of Dane County streams. So far, 2.7 miles of Dorn Creek is complete. That's just northwest of Lake Mendota. Machines scrape and vacuum the bottom of these streams of the phosphorus-packed sediment that has built up over many years. County Executive Joe Parisi says all that work to keep phosphorus out of our lakes, that's one way to clean our lakes, but they also need to remove what has been building up on the bottom of those streams for decades. So these machines gobbled up some 22 million pounds of muck, and with it came an awful lot of phosphorus.
So we've just taken 75,000 pounds of phosphorus that was in the water, making itself available to the plants there, creating kind of the root cause of the challenges we have, and that will no longer be in the system and available to escape into the waterways.
Well, in some of these streams, the muck at the bottom was 4 feet deep. All that sediment was dumped in a nearby pit on county-owned land, which will be reseeded as prairie, sealing that phosphorus inside. Now, in that area of Dorn Creek, the hope is that it returns to its status as a northern pike spawning area, as it was a half-century ago. They say all that sediment had actually built up over 125 years. Next, they'll move on to clean up Token Creek next summer. Mark and Susan?
It is quite a program.
It is.
Very successful. All right, Eric, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Eric. There's more at 4 as we were just talking to Jessica about 6 days until the midterm election.
We continue to look at the top of the ticket, the race for governor. Yesterday we heard from Democratic challenger Tony Evers, that is. Today we hear from Governor Scott Walker. That's when Live at 4 continues. Welcome back. Violent weather in Italy this week is now blamed for at least 11 deaths.
It caused some of the worst flooding that Venice has ever seen. Footage shows tourists and residents alike donning high boots to navigate the streets of Venice after strong winds raised the water level over 5 feet before receding. The water exceeded the raised walkways normally put out in flooded areas in Venice, forcing their removal. 3/4 of the famed Italian lagoon city was underwater. Venice frequently floods when high winds push in water from the lagoon, but Monday's levels were considered exceptional.
Fueled by some strong earnings reports, stocks surged today to end a brutal October. The Dow Industrials gained 241 points, closing at 25,115. The NASDAQ Composite Index gained 144, and the S&P 500 was up 29.
We continue to look at the top of the ticket matchup in Wisconsin next Tuesday.
Incumbent Governor Scott Walker faces State Superintendent Tony Evers in the race for the State House. Governor Walker, through his team, declined our request for a one-on-one interview, but political reporter Jessica Harp has a look at where he stands on some issues.
After holding office for nearly 8 years, Governor Scott Walker is running for a third and what he says would be a final term, saying he's not done reforming the state. Running against the state superintendent, Walker has rolled out education initiatives, including a change in public school funding. We asked him about it at an event in Janesville. So you said yesterday that you've said that you want to fund schools by 2/3 at this point. Explain how you would pay for that. Where does the money come from?
Well, we have yet another budget surplus, so we've done it 8 years in a row. Remember, Jim Doyle gave us a $3.6 billion budget deficit. We've had a surplus every year. 2 years ago, our budget included $11.5 billion for schools. That's an all-time high. That's the largest actual dollar investment in schools in state history. It's only a slight jump up from where we were at 2 years ago. And remember, Tony Evers at the time called that budget a pro-kid budget. He said his priorities were aligned with our priorities. At least that's what he said when he was running for his third term for superintendent. He obviously now says something different, but the facts remain. We were able to do that 2 years ago and still lower property taxes, just like Tommy Thompson did. Years ago, I voted for that budget when we funded schools at 2/3 and still reduced property taxes. But we're able to do that going forward.
In your last budget, you essentially eliminated the state portion of the property tax, which is why you talk often about reducing property taxes for the state. How would you lower property taxes in an upcoming budget, given that almost all of the remaining property tax comes from schools, local governments?
By keeping in place the property tax limits we've had in the past on local governments, continuing to put historic levels of funding in so that those dollars can go in the classroom and support good programs for student success. We did that in each of our budgets.
But how can you guarantee that, given that it's essentially local governments and schools who will decide what property taxes are at?
Well, the limits in place have done that. That's why, not just this budget, but previous budgets, that's why property taxes went down, was because we put property tax limits in place. Those are things that we're able to do, and because we give schools and local governments funding, it allows them to fund our key priorities without raising property taxes along the way. The key is just leadership. And Tony Evers talks a good game these days. He makes billions of dollars of promises. He promises every group just about everything imaginable, but he hasn't shown how to lead on that. For years, before he was running for governor, he was advocating raising taxes, lifting property taxes, and other things like that. I think that's the clear contrast.
But Walker's leadership has also been in question, as 4 former cabinet secretaries have publicly criticized his administration and leadership. We asked him about it at the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association debate.
Jessica, to your specific question, it's simple. I'm not afraid to have people with diverse opinions in my cabinet. For years, I had a cabinet member who wanted to raise the gas tax, and I told the voters clearly I would never raise the gas tax without an equal or greater reduction elsewhere in their tax burden overall. Even in addition to my cabinet, when I was in county government, I had a member of the cabinet there who worked for a Democrat in United States Congress. And I even had a personal aide in the past who worked for Joe Lieberman, who was a running mate with Al Gore when he ran for president in 2000. I'm not afraid to have people with diverse opinions out there, but what I always will do is be straight with the voters of the state of Wisconsin. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'll follow up and do it.
And don't forget to vote. You can vote early in Madison now and vote next Tuesday.
And the director of the Marquette Law School poll, Charles Franklin, will be with us here in the studio tomorrow to discuss the results of his latest poll.
It's tied. Still to come at 4 is the latest Halloween trend.
And it's a little ghoulish.
Bat decorations are reaching a whole new level this Halloween. I'm Katie Kairos with the scary trend involving real dead bats.
Spot.
Take a look at this. This is what happens when NASA puts on a pumpkin decorating contest for Halloween. Rocket scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena took part in the annual contest, and they did not disappoint. The rules are simple. No planning or carving during work hours. Engineers had to craft their creations on their own time. The grand prize for all this wickedly intricate work, just bragging rights.
Cool bragging rights, though.
Love it. That is some pumpkin carving.
That's awesome. I wish we were that cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not.
It's Wednesday, October 31st. Happy Halloween. It is National Doorbell Day.
Yeah, they'll be getting a workout tonight.
They will. Ding dong.
It is also Scare a Friend Day.
Boo! Didn't work. And it's National Knock Knock Joke Day. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Etch.
Etch who?
Bless you.
Very cute.
Hey!
All right, you try one.
All right, knock knock.
Who's there?
Cash.
Cash who?
No thanks, I'll take some peanuts.
Very good.
Clever.
We better not quit our day jobs. Right, okay, knock knock.
Who's there?
Lettuce.
Lettuce who?
Let us in, it's cold out here.
Probably enough. Oh, knock knock. Who's there? Two.
To who?
It's to whom?
That's a good one. That is a good one.
All right, let's leave it at that.
I like how you answered your own question, though.
I don't either. I'll do it myself.
Boy, it's a treat for the little ones tonight.
It definitely is. A dry sky out there right now. Temperature-wise, things look pretty okay for us. As we head into November, should be a pretty mellow start. We'll take a closer look at that full forecast in just a few minutes. Overall, it's pretty nice outside for us today. Our visible cloud check showing just a few clouds for us moving on overhead, but otherwise a mostly sunny sky this morning. As we head towards this evening, become a little more partly cloudy for us overnight and for tomorrow. Doppler track has also stayed nice and calm. We did see a little bit of rain come through last night, along with a few thunderstorms, but most of our accumulation was just a few tenths of an inch. Some isolated areas picking up a little closer to an inch in the last 24 hours, but nothing to add on to that through this evening or overnight. We're actually going to hold off a few more days before we have any sort of rain concerns coming through. We're close to 56 right now in Madison, 57 in Janesville and in Monroe. Same goes for Lone Rock, so actually a little above average for this afternoon. A pleasant end to October and a really pleasant evening ahead for anyone heading out for trick-or-treating. Our wind speed right now in the single digits for much of the area, peaking closer to about 12 for Monroe and Lone Rock, 5 miles per hour though in Madison and 9 in Janesville, coming from the northwest. So it is a little cooler air shifting on in, but those temperatures again still just a little warmer, a little above average. That cold front that slid through yesterday, driving all that moisture on through now well to the southeast. We're going to stay a little mellow for today and tomorrow. This front to the north, no moisture associated along with it. Again, just a few clouds in the sky for us. No major weather makers until we get well into this weekend for us. Overnight, plan on just a few clouds. Tomorrow morning, temperatures will slowly drop for us. into the 30s. A cool start to tomorrow morning, but not too bad. Tomorrow we will have a few clouds, but still sunshine through the morning, clouds building back in later in the evening. Temperatures will again be seasonal as we head into Thursday evening. Clouds rebuild for Friday, as well as our next opportunity for some rain. Not during the day on Friday. We'll hold off until we get into Saturday. I want to take a little broader look for what we're expecting Saturday afternoon. A mostly cloudy sky, and then showers starting to build in later on in the evening. Not really so much during the day, so good news for the Rutgers game. We're going to have those showers overnight and through much of the day on Saturday. May see some heavier rainfall also on Sunday as those showers continue to move on in. By Sunday evening, we're still seeing showers, and even into Monday morning, we may still deal with a little bit of rainfall. Temperatures for this evening for trick-or-treating will be close to 56, of course, right around 4 o'clock where we're at right now, and then we continue to fall as sunset is barely just about an hour and a half away for us. By 6 o'clock, we're close to 51 degrees, and then closer to 8 o'clock, about 47. So falling quite a bit. Our wind speed, though, is going to stay calm, almost non-existent past midnight. Overnight low temperatures, of course, in the 30s for us. Right now, just cloudy outside for some areas, but overall, really a mellow evening. Mix of clouds and sun, I should say. 58 the high for the day, higher than average. 52, of course, where we should have landed. Again, a big switch from where we were at last Halloween. Last Halloween, we were in the upper 30s, so that was fairly pleasant. 35 low for us overnight with a light breeze, partly cloudy, and just a little colder than what we had last night. Plan on a partly sunny start to November. It will be a little cooler for afternoon highs, closer to average, though, as 52 is our high as we head into Thursday. Overall, as we look at the bigger picture, that 10-day forecast, plan on a mellow into the week. Saturday, we're going to enjoy sunshine for much of the morning, and then clouds building in overnight, becoming mostly cloudy later in the afternoon, and then those showers coming in overnight. Breezy and rainy for much of Sunday. It looks like Monday we may have a bit of rain break a bit of a break in the rain for Monday afternoon. Breezy with that chance for showers in the afternoon and overnight. Tuesday will be much cooler for Election Day with the chance for some mix coming in. So a mix of rain and snowflakes overnight, but not so much during the day for us. That's the good news for Tuesday.
Don't let that deter you.
No, not at all.
And be very careful driving tonight. I mean, it's a dangerous night for pedestrians.
Absolutely. You definitely, if you have little kids, remember I used to have the little blinky lights that you would clip on, or anything reflective that you could put on your Halloween costume. And drivers just need to also take a little extra precaution because there are going to be so many more people on the roads, a little more foot traffic in the neighborhoods especially.
Right, and the costumes sometimes block vision.
Exactly, yeah. If you have certain masks on, or even just a little extra eye paint can sometimes block your peripheral vision or block that light a little bit. So tips for everyone who's going to be out this evening. I know sometimes it can be a pain in the butt where you're watching all the trick-or-treaters running around and you're trying to get home, but it's just
it's going to be a fun night.
Halloween, yeah, just let them go have fun.
Perfect weather.
It's gorgeous.
Lucky it wasn't last night. I could hardly see driving home as raining so hard.
We had quite a downpour last night. Yeah, a few areas, as I mentioned, got close to about an inch of accumulation. Not a major rain event for us, but showers definitely coming through to soak our Tuesday.
We looked up. All right, get ready to go to the backyard, okay?
I got it.
All right.
All right, costume time's coming up.
What's scarier than bats on Halloween? How about using dead bats as decorations?
That, believe it or not, is what a lot of people are doing, and that has the Centers for Disease Control concerned. Katie Kairos has more from Staten Island, New York.
Bats are traditionally considered a spooky part of Halloween, and now more and more people are using actual dead bats to decorate for the holiday.
They definitely have a reputation, associated with vampires and creepy events like Halloween.
The National Fish and Wildlife Service says it's seizing illegal dead bats shipped into the United States once or twice a month at the International Mail Facility at JFK Airport in New York. The number doubles in the months leading up to Halloween.
Most of the time, fully taxidermied, even sometimes their wings are spread and stapled to cardboard, or their wings are wrapped around their body and they're like shrink wrapped in plastic.
While most bats, like these fruit bats, are harmless, the problem is the dead ones can present health risks.
Bats from other countries could also be carrying diseases that we don't have yet in the United States and that we definitely don't want to get introduced.
Most bat species are not protected by international wildlife treaties, making them easy targets for smugglers.
Bats are really important to the ecosystems where they reside. They're important for the recolonization of plants.
Another risk, this Halloween trend could impact bat species, landing some of them on the endangered list. And that's seriously frightening. In New York, Katie Kairos for WISC News 3.
And officials say bats are a big disease factor for humans.
They also consume a lot of pests, including mosquitoes. They're very important, so
yeah, they really
don't
are.
do that.
Yeah, why?
Yes.
What are you thinking? Well, there's a lot to love about fall in Wisconsin.
Crisp air, fall colors, and apples. When we come back, nutritionist Donna Weihoffen is here with some new recipes featuring Wisconsin apples. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Well, October is apple picking month in Wisconsin.
Donna Weihoffen managed to squeeze in her apple recipes on the last day of the month. You look so cute. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you, too. Yes.
So apples, and you know, there's so many now. You go in the store, it's like, where do you start?
It's hard. It's hard to know. And it's 31 billion sold in the United States each year. And the U.S. Apple Association has rated them by popularity. And the #1 apple, you probably won't guess it, it's a Gala. Oh. And the Gala is real versatile. You can use it in salads and cookings, and I use that today.
I would have guessed Red Delicious.
And that's second.
That's
so
number 2.
That's number 2.
Who's number 3?
Number 3 is the Fuji, and that one was developed in Japan in 1990, so 1930s. So it's relatively new. Granny Smith, if you like a real tart apple, some people like that kind. And the one that's growing in popularity the fastest is the Honeycrisp. That's one my grandchildren want.
I have one every day. Who's in Kennesaw?
I love them too. They're very expensive though.
Oh, this one is twice as expensive as these other apples. This was $1.39 for one apple.
No wonder I like it.
I like these for cooking. These are the Golden Delicious because they're very versatile. They cook up well, and so that's one of my favorite cooking apples. And the Macintosh also works pretty well for cooking. And lastly is the Cortland.
I thought the Macintosh would be much higher up in popularity.
This is down here. So, and then there's probably 25 others besides.
These are the most popular.
Yeah.
All right, so let's
what are the best cooking apples?
Well, you know, that's kind of a question. What's the best wine to drink? The answer is the one you like. So it's like, you know, if you like a softer cooking apple, you cook, you know, with a Gala or delicious. If you like it firm, you do the Granny Smith. If you like a real tart apple to eat, it's Honeycrisp.
So it depends what you're making.
Yes, and what you like.
So what are we making? There
well,
we go.
first of all, we'll start out with a salad. My salad has, of course, apples and cranberries and crushed cashews. And the dressing is a lemon poppy seed dressing, so that it really complements the apples.
Very healthy, very colorful. What kind of apple did you use?
And I use Gala for everything today.
Okay.
And so I use it for both cooking and eating. And that lemon dressing is really...
Oh, that is good.
It's a good one. It's easy.
That is good. All right.
By the way, I'm serving this for a company tonight. They might be watching this. They'll know what they're gonna
No pressure.
Well, enjoy. It's a treat.
And this is pork chop. So I made a pork chop, and I made a cranberry apple kind of sauce on top. And of course, cranberries and apples, always cinnamon and nutmeg are the seasoning of choice.
A good combination.
So this is the sauce here.
Yes,
and you just
sauce.
reduced this on the stove?
I did. And then it put a little orange zest on top. Remember I bought you a zester for Christmas one year?
I use it all the time.
And here's the zest, and that adds just a little bit of zest to it.
That's got a terrific flavor.
And not too sweet. You know, I cut back the sugar on this one because I'm using it with pork.
All right, so...
The last one is dessert, and that's an apple cake. This apple cake, I tested it with several recipes with friends, and this is the voted #1 recipe because it's so super moist. And then you would be putting on this sauce. I thought it was kind of messy, so I thought you might just want to taste the sauce by itself.
What is the sauce?
The sauce is a caramel apple rum sauce.
Oh, I'll try that.
And instead of making it with full cream, which I try to avoid, I made it with evaporated milk. But I want to tell our viewers, when you use evaporated milk, instead of punching holes in it, you really need to open the cover, because under the cover and in the bottom are milk solids that you would not get out if you just poured it out. So there's a whole bunch of milk solids that you need to scrape off. Otherwise, you know, really change your recipe.
Good pro tip.
And I add a little bit of rum.
A little bit, that odd. And this is fun here.
I found this at Brennan's. Look at this, an apple cinnamon cheese. That'll go delicious on the side. And you even tasted it ahead of time.
Well, of course we did.
And loved it.
Oh, thank you, Donna. This cake is out of this world.
It is. I'm going to put a little sauce right on it.
The cake is really moist. I tried several apple cake recipes, and this one is the best. And it was voted the best by my friends. So.
And with the sauce, it's very rich, very good.
And so healthy for you.
So healthy for you.
All the recipes online at channel3000.com.
Yes. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
You too. Thank you, Donna.
We'll head out to the backyard. I think some trick-or-treaters might be ready. That's when Live at 4, Halloween edition, continues.
Welcome back. When it comes to our traffic cams, right now things look fairly smooth. This is 12 and 19 for us right now. Things are 18. Things again rolling along quite smoothly. If you're heading on out for your spooky Halloween activities through much of Dane County, we're seeing a lot of green right now. Speeds on the Beltline for us, slowing down just a little bit, zooming on over towards Cottage Grove though. Seeing a lot of green right now. Again, on the Beltline, we do have those reduced speeds. It looks like just in the last few minutes, we've seen a little more of a backup for us there. Heading towards Middleton right now, University Avenue, eastbound and westbound, also seeing delays as far as drive times go. Maybe a little slower to get from John Nolan to University Avenue. Westbound, only 5 minutes, and then 3990 to John Nolan, about 6 minutes. But northbound, PD to the Beltline, about 3 minutes for you. So a few delays, but nothing too major for you on this Halloween commute home.
Now, if you just hopped on your broom,
You could zip right there.
yes. Here we are.
Happy Halloween from the witches of Live at 4. I'm impressed you got traffic through with that nose.
I did.
Can you breathe?
I was like squinting though to try to see what was going on the screen, but I got it.
And we have Dr.
I'm a
Rupert
mouth
back
breather.
here on the theremin.
Yes. Kevin is our chief
We
engineer.
got a dinosaur.
Uh-oh. Scary.
And
Godzilla.
we got a door here. Uh-oh.
The
Someone got the
trick-or-treaters
door.
are here.
I'll
Who's
get it.
Hi.
It's Avery.
This is Avery, Quinn, and Hadley. Hadley is Jessica Arp's daughter. Hadley, you look so pretty. And Avery is Nicole's daughter, our director.
Hi.
You guys look great.
We have a dragon and Sleeping Beauty.
Happy Halloween.
And a little dragon.
And I'll get that little dog, too.
All right.
You can have more.
You
Go
can have
ahead,
more. We
baby.
got lots.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
right.
There you go. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Quinn.
You look great.
someone's
Avery,
at
you
the
look
door.
so cute. Okay, go get back this way.
Follow Quinn.
Oh,
Trick or
my
treat.
Halloween. Hi, Parker. Happy Halloween. Oh, you guys look so cute.
What's your name?
Bradley.
Oh, we gotta shut the door here. We've got more people.
Oh boy.
Bradley is Superman or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Tabitha, can you tell us everybody who you brought today?
These are my nephews, Brantley and Parker, and my nieces, Kinsley and Kylie.
Tabitha works at Channel 3000. Thanks for coming, you guys. Did everybody get some candy? Or we've been talking and gotta get some candy.
Parker seems confused by the whole operation. All right.
You want some?
Happy Halloween. Oh, there's the door. I'll get it.
No? Okay.
Another.
Oh,
my.
Princesses.
The whole family.
Hi, Mama. Oh, and look at everybody's here.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. Ruby.
Ruby, you look beautiful. You're Princess Peach, right?
Weren't you Harry Carey last year?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
This is
choreo theme this year.
We call him Bubba and his two beautiful children. You what's up here?
Brand new Olive.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Wonderful.
Oh, there's the doorbell.
Oh boy.
Who do we have here? Hi, Brody. Hi, buddy. You are a dinosaur. That is awesome.
This is
These
my
are very
niece Liz.
special
Yes,
guests.
and my. Hi, Brody. How are you?
This is your niece Liz and her husband Will. Hi, Will. Good to see you. And you have a new baby too.
Where is the new baby? Oh, over there. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Brody, would you like some more?
What are you? A dinosaur?
What's a dinosaur
Can you roar? Wow. It's a silent dinosaur.
Congratulations, you guys. Good to see you. Oh, there's the door.
I'll get it. Oh,
my.
here we go.
Look at your hair.
Poppy the Troll.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
There goes my hat. You look great. Here, take some.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Pappy.
Poppy Troll.
Poppy the Troll.
And you're Cooper?
Yeah, and I'm Neymar Jr. and he plays for PSG.
Oh, that's right.
Boy.
I'm Bree and I'm a zombie hockey player.
Oh,
okay.
scary.
I'm Simi and I'm a zombie soccer player.
Very
Here, guys,
cool.
take some candy. I have some serious hair envy over the troll down here. Here
I
you
should
go,
go with
guys. You
pink
guys
instead.
all look
You look great. Great costumes.
Great costumes. I love your shoes too, honey.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Grab as many as you want. Just grab a whole bunch. There you go.
There we go.
Did you get some, honey? Take some. You sure you don't want any? Okay.
Look at these three.
The minions are here.
Yes. I'm Caitlin. Sonoma. I'm Maymay.
Your glasses are
Where do you get those glasses?
Online.
Can you see really good with those?
No.
I'm not
That's a trip right now.
What a great costume. Here, guys, take some candy.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you, too. I love your tutus. You look great. There you go.
Well, I think we're out of Halloween.
Do we dare bring the...
Can Godzilla stomp through?
Godzilla, can you come over here? I think he makes sound too. Godzilla. Yikes! That's actually frightening.
That is a great costume. Is it hard to walk in that? Here, let me give you some candy. Uh-oh, you might take the whole bucket.
Take the whole thing.
Happy Halloween.
And Kevin, this is named after the inventor of it?
Yeah.
Here, let me get this microphone over here. The dinosaur's
You're
on
wrestling
it.
a dinosaur.
Oh my gosh.
The microphone. This is a theremin. It's an instrument that you play without actually touching, and it was invented by Leon Theremin in the 1930s.
Well, that's very cool. It's very. You bring it out once a year.
Yeah, a couple times a year.
I like your glasses too. So that's Halloween here on Live
That's
Before.
Halloween. I like it. I like
You made it through your first Halloween with us.
This is an awesome tradition.
It is lots of fun, and we thank all the parents and the kids for coming out. And as we mentioned earlier, be very careful if you're heading
Be
out.
very careful. The weather's going to be fantastic. It really is going to be a wonderful Halloween Eve.
What a great Halloween.
Perfect.
All right, we'll be right back to wrap things up. Well, not a spooky forecast at all.
Not at all. Actually, as we look over the next few hours, things look wonderful tonight. Our temperatures are going to drop to the mid-30s, but if you're heading out the door to go trick-or-treating, the good news, we're going to stay pretty close to 50 for a little longer. Tomorrow afternoon, our first day of November, highs will be in the low 50s for us. Partly sunny, but just a little cooler outside, as today we saw temps rise to the upper 50s. That cooling trend takes us all the way to the weekend. Our next opportunity for some showers isn't going to march in until we get towards the end of the week, or the weekend, and into the start of next week.
It's hard to believe November tomorrow.
It is. It doesn't feel like it outside.
No, it's nice outside, so it's been pleasant for us.
And for people just tuning in, what's happened?
What has happened?
We've transformed.
Tomorrow, we doing that? Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll find out what's happening in the 608s this weekend.
That's right. And what else?
Charles Franklin.
Oh, that's right. Very serious news. The latest Marquette Law School poll has the race for governor tied. We'll talk to Charles about that tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's final touch, an entire bar in Texas is getting into the Halloween spirit.
And they're doing it Simpsons style. Nickel City in Austin disguised itself as Moe's Tavern from the iconic TV show, right down to the